Hey guys, it's me Garrett, and I'm here with Dr. Muscle. And today we wanted to review the very popular strength program known as Stronglifts 5x5. For those of you who don't know Stronglifts, it's actually very popular beginner strength lifting program. And so what it does is it goes back to the basics. It's very simple. It uses 5 compound movements. The movements are squat, deadlift, bench press, overhead press, and bent over row. In 2 sessions, a session A, a session B, you only do 3 of those exercises a session. So actually, all of them are 5x5 except the deadlift is 1x5. And this is a very popular app. I've actually used it. Dr. Muscle asked me to do a review, and at first I wasn't really sure because I'm a fan of the concept of Stronglifts. Started to do my initial, investigation, and a very common theme came up that, which is what I found to be true, the common theme is that people like it, but they always need to alter it. They always need to add something, take away something. Is this really the best? If something's the best app, it shouldn't need to be altered all the time. And so, after my review, like I said, I found some issues. And I'll be honest, it's not so much the issues that I had an issue with, right? It wasn't so much that they're alterations that I wish were different. It was the way that Stronglifts responded to them and their explanation for them. So its biggest issue is the imbalance between exercises, specifically the squat and deadlift, but you also see it between pulling and pushing. So in Stronglifts, you see that you do 5x5 of squat every single session. So that's 3 days a week. You're doing 5x5 of squats. That's not necessarily an issue. That's a place of contingency. We can have that discussion. Is it too much? But when looking at his response is simply, if you can't do that, then you're just deconditioned. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. And even still, that only addresses why you can't do it. It doesn't address why you should do it, right? So this problem is only exacerbated when you realize that you only do deadlift on one of those sessions and you only do 1x5. And so you do the math, you're doing squats 10 times more than you're doing deadlifts. And then you look at the reasoning for why you don't want to do 5x5 with deadlifts, and he talks about it's a difficult movement and so on and so forth. Okay, maybe, but the obvious explanation is just to make the deadlift the primary movement. So you have squat 5x5 and then you have deadlift 5x5. Just have squats, one big movement squats on one day and with the other big movement deadlifts on the other day. That's how I write a lot of my programs. And then further, we go on and we see that there's only 1 pulling exercise, bent over row, and 2 pushing exercises, overhead press and the bench press. To be very clear, I love these exercises, awesome exercises. But when we're looking in the grand scheme of things, the back is arguably, I don't want to say more important, but when we're looking at a lot of issues with posture and back problems and things of that nature, it's on the posterior muscles. And so I don't understand why you have squats 3 days a week, you're doing 2 pushing, and you're only doing 1 horizontal pulling exercise for your back. Again, this issue could be solved. Do squats, deadlifts, right? Then that leaves up an opening, throw in some chin-ups. Then you're having the vertical pulling. So then you have squat, deadlifts, and you have 2 pulling and 2 pushing. Even Steven, everything's fixed. There's no complaining about doing too much and so forth. And again, the issue is this has been brought up before, and there's just the attitude is like, well, I'm not going to do it. If you can't do it, then you're weak or you're not training properly. And it's to me, it's a very simple problem. It's obvious what the answer can be, but why not do that, I guess, other than because. And because is not always a good reason. And then further, you go and looking at arms and core. So arms and core aren't involved in the program at all. Again, not really an issue for beginners, but the problem is that, again, you have 2 pushing, so you're hitting the triceps, but there's only 1 pulling, and it's the bent over row. Okay, so why this is an issue is that even when you do the row, you're not getting a full range of motion for that biceps. We're going to look at a full row, okay? Right here, if I'm obviously bent over, but I pull my arms back. This is as far as you get, right? If I keep this movement and bring my elbows forward, that's a half rep bicep curl, right? Look at that, that's all you get. This is all the arm flexion you get in this program. Again, this could be solved very easily if we go back, move the deadlift, and then we have pull-ups right here. You're pulling all the way down. Now you're getting this full flexion in the arm. So again, this is an issue. You're saying that you have arm movements within the compound exercise, which is true to an extent, but you're not doing pull-ups for some reason. The only arm flexion you have is a half rep when you do the row. So again, I don't understand it. Same thing with core. Again, deadlifts, squats are awesome. You're definitely going to train your core, 100% on board with that. Again, however, there's a lot of howevers. Just because these train your core doesn't mean you don't have to add on or you don't need to, right? Maybe you don't, maybe you do. But again, if you're only doing 3 exercises, why not throw in that? So again, with the core, you're getting this isometric bracing, which is, again, awesome. However, you're not getting any flexion, okay? And you're not getting any rotational movements. Again, these are very simple to add in. So it's like the program's stuck on, we're only going to do these 3 exercises a day. We're not going to change for anybody, even though it's very, very simple. So those are the issues I saw that I would say I have an issue with, right? I think it's a problem. However, even if you go looking further, there's other problems where I don't think you can call it the best beginner workouts because one, you're stuck in a gym and you're stuck with barbell movements. Again, love the gym, love barbell, but not everybody has access to a gym, and not everybody's comfortable doing barbell movements. Again, we're talking about true beginner, having them go in and do a 5x5 squats every day with deadlifts. A lot of times we as trainers, we can forget what it's like learning these movements. They're awesome. Anyone can do them, but they take time to learn properly so you don't hurt yourself. And then again, if you're working out at home or you're traveling, like it's just not going to work for you at all, no matter what. Like 5x5, it's great, it works. It can be boring. It is what it is. Adherence is extremely important when you're looking at a program. Main big issue is that there's no alternative exercises. It's, when we talk about cookie cutter programs, we're talking about something that's made and you don't change it and you just give it to everybody, right? That's a cookie cutter. Stronglifts is a cookie cutter. There's no room for variables. There's no room for alterations. People have mobility issues. People have injuries that there's nothing they can do about. And with 5x5, there's no alternatives or possibilities. We compare that to something else like Dr. Muscle. Dr. Muscle takes all the issues I just talked about and fixes them. But Dr. Muscle is, so far I have not seen a program that matches Dr. Muscle. I really think it's a great program. Anyone can use it, beginners, intermediate. Very cliche, but it's really like having a trainer. And you guys, that's all. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you later.